Hey everyone, so as you guys all know that the second place person was going to be whoever lost the poll, and that was U-47. Now, I wanted to get this one out earlier, but two things kind of happened. One, it actually takes a considerable amount of time to get all of the mission requirements satisfied for this. And I'm actually kind of curious how this is going to work, because I think one of the requirements was to get an SOS mission, and I think they're getting rid of those. So I'm not sure what's going to happen to that. I'm a little bit worried, to be honest. Hopefully it's just do the submarine daily twice, or weekly twice, in which case that would be a little bit scary too. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried with how they're going to do that. Also, there's a lot of content that came out recently. Like, jeez. Arknights, Azur, and Blue Archive all dumped a whole bunch of stuff out. Not complaining, it's a lot of stuff to go through, but still something to really consider. Regardless, U-47's story is today, so let's go ahead and dive right on in and see what this is all about. See you guys in a few. Days of Tranquility. Sound of the waves. I know nothing about this character, so I'm kind of curious what's gonna happen here. Many of you know I am not an Ironblood main, so this is one of those things I'm just like, well, this is new. Anyway, a warm breeze, notably warmer than normal, greeted me when I stepped outside. It was a wonderful day. The sun was out, the skies were clear. I decided to make the most of it and go for a walk to the pier. Kind of rhymed. It's fine. Oh, hello. Upon arriving there, I found U-47. She sat there, feet hanging off the pier, dipping into the water, just enjoying the solitude. She always did seem like the, what is it, I wouldn't say the hikikomori type, but the recluse, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Introverts, I'm a bit introverted myself, to be honest, so I can definitely relate to a degree. I bet that probably is a nice thing though. Anyway, that's when she noticed I was there. She turned around to face me. What are you doing out here all by yourself? Not much, just listening to the waves. I sharpened my ears and listened in. The sound of the waves washing onto the shore gave me a sense of peace and quiet. For a moment I forgot all about the stress of my job. I sat down next to U-47 and appreciated the calming sound. After a while of silently gazing out at the sea, U-47 turned and looked at me with a puzzled look. You're an odd one, Commander, but in a good way. You're the first person to hang out with me and keep quiet. Most people I know just make a racket. I've gotta go now, though. Submarine meeting thing around this hour. See you later. Oh, okay. Submarine meeting thing. Huh. She bluntly announced her departure, and then got up to leave. Just wondering. Right as she started walking, she suddenly stopped in place and began to pose me a question. Is it quiet in your office? Quiet? Pretty far from the dorms, would I suppose so? I mean, it really just depends on what secretary we have in our office at the time. Some of them can be relatively calm, others have... well, others are having the worst day of their lives. Some of them... I'm scared to leave in the office by themselves for whatever reason that might be. Looking at you, Tie-Hole. But yeah, aside from that, it really just depends on who I've got. I think, well, I mean, my secretaries are random, so I'm never actually going to know. I actually like that feature, though. It's a nice feature. I see. Good to know. She gave a concise response, then resumed her walking and left the pier. She seemed uninterested in me from start to finish, but I didn't get the impression that she disliked me. I don't think she was necessarily uninterested. I mean, it's probably, as she said, we're like one of the few people who actually didn't, like, make a ruckus or anything upon, you know, hanging out with her, so to speak. So she's probably like, oh, this might be somebody I can be around. Then it was just me. I stuck around for a while longer, simply taking in the sound of the waves. I actually used to like doing this. Sitting at the beach is always a nice thing. Well, beach, pier, doesn't really matter where, actually. I actually used to live near an ocean, so it was always nice to hear the sound of the waves coming in and crashing against our little dock. It's always a very comfortable sound. I guess the only thing I really didn't like was the heat and also the always at 3 o'clock rain shower. Oh boy. I wonder what she's gonna do here, though. She's asking why it was our... I'm a little bit curious, because her office is, was her question of the day here. Is she gonna be just, taking up shop here, or setting up shop in her office? I guess usually we make these characters secretaries, so I'm not really sure. Anyway, the quiet visitor. I was doing work in the office, when suddenly someone came knocking on my door. I wasn't expecting a visitor at this hour, but I decided to let them in. I was surprised when I saw who it was. Huh. Interesting place you got here. U-47 entered and I had a look around. I asked if she had any business with me. Nope, I'm here just because. I can leave if you're in the middle of something right now. It's fine. I'm not doing anything particularly important. You can stay as long as you want. Plus, I don't honestly... My initial impression of her is I don't think she's going to make too much noise, and if anything, having somebody around for an extra opinion might not necessarily be a bad thing. But at that point, why don't we just make her our secretary? She probably wouldn't want to be around a whole bunch of people. Now that I think about it, we probably... I don't know if she'd want to be a secretary. Because, you know, that's a... He's gonna have to go all over the place, interact with a lot of people, and for somebody like her, or at least from my initial impression, she probably doesn't want anything to do with that. Oh, thanks. Then I'll just have a seat and read some books. It had been a while since U-47 and I said anything. Focused on my work and kind of forgot she was there, which I hope she didn't take offense to. She was just sitting on the couch by the door, not making a single peep. Feeling curious, I walked over to check on her. Oh, she's out cold. I mean, you know, considering she's wearing very little, I might want to give her a blanket or something so she doesn't get cold. Maybe a pillow. I don't actually know how. I don't know. An open book lied in her lap. Her snores were so quiet that I could only hear them close. I picked up the book and looked at the cover. It was on a complicated topic a bit above her comprehension level. What? What do you mean? If she's reading it, she's reading it. It made sense to conclude she'd gotten drowsy while trying to digest it. I retrieved a blanket and tucked her in. Okay. For a moment, I thought I'd woken her up. Fortunately, that was just her turning her sleep a little. Turning in her sleep a little, I think is what that meant to say. As I got back to work, I made a mental note to leave out a perhaps more accessible book. I mean, she's Ironblood. I don't, like... They're kind of the tech-savvy faction, if anything, so I'd imagine she has at least some, you know, technical prowess. I don't think that would be too hard for her to understand. Anyway, milky goodness. What? Chocolate, I guess? Well, I mean, Ironblood. Maybe that makes sense. This is for you, Commander. U-47 came by the very next day after her first visit to my office. She brought with her a small carton of milk. I mean, this is fine. I actually like to drink milk. As old as I am now, I still actually drink it. I'm probably the only one in my family that does, which I don't mind. Packaging sported a depiction of a brawny cow, an illusion. Wait, yeah, bleh. I always say illusion and illusion almost identical to each other, so I have to remember. It always is annoying, though. The widespread belief that milk promotes bone growth. It means calcium. Doesn't necessarily dominate in it, but it still helps a little bit. A small thank you for the blanket yesterday. Ah, you're welcome. By the way, do you have a straw? There's none on the carton. Oh darn, must have dropped it at some point. But it's still good. Whichever way you drink. I wouldn't even ask for a straw, I'd just rip the top of... Well, I guess it depends on what kind of carton this is. If this is like the little paper carton, that might be something I could easily do. If it's something else, I don't necessarily know how that would work. But, Yeah, I usually would just at that. I don't usually. If it's a carton, I usually don't care to drink it drink it with a straw. I just rip one of the ends open. She shrugged, then started scouring the bookshelves for something to read, like yesterday. Meanwhile, I got a glass and poured the milk into it. I took a sip and immediately I could tell this was not your run-of-the-mill milk. Its taste was extraordinary. I commented on this to U-47. It's my favorite. Imported too. I wouldn't just share it with anyone. That's nice of her. So, got anything you need help with? I want to make myself useful this time around. There's nothing I desperately need your help with, but I appreciate the offer. For future reference though, what do you excel at? Healthy stuff. I mean, we barely did notice that she was in the office last time. Whether for better or for worse. She's kind of that sneaky character. See. I'll let you know if any missions like that crop up. Hey, please do. She was content to leave it at that, then pulled out a paperback from the bookshelf. I took a brief glance at the cover to see what she picked. It was titled Catalog of Navy Issue Postage Stamps. Pretty sure this wasn't here yesterday. Could be cool. Okay. I wonder if she's like the type that would collect this point. Like I imagine there's got to be a handful of like collectors characters in port. I used to collect quarters. Used to do that a lot. Paid attention to the exact mint in the year. It was always interesting to kind of pay attention to that stuff. Didn't necessarily know that was something you could learn about the money that you have. Anyway, just like yesterday, she sat down on the couch and began reading in silence. I had put out the new book more or less at random, and was surprised to see she had taken an interest in it. I've said it before, but you really are an odd one, Commander. I don't help around the office, but you still left this book here just for me. You're really quiet, too. I mean, well, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I mean, obviously being a content creator and a live streamer, that's kind of a bit of a different side of things, to say the least, but at the same time, no, I generally just keep to myself, stay relatively quiet. If I'm working on something, I'm usually just focused on it. Maybe I'll have, like, some music playing in my pair of headphones or something. It's just the way that I am. So, I guess it's not entirely wrong. Don't get me wrong, I don't want you to start running your mouth. I like peace and quiet, so I'm fine with that. You don't need to exchange words to enjoy each other's company. Yeah, exactly. She briefly echoed my sentiment, then focused her attention back to the book. Of course she... Not much of note happened after that, and yet a comfy mood enveloped the quiet office for the duration of her stay. Nice to know that she's kind of got this, you know, place that she can always go to. I guess that's always a nice thing for a more introverted person, is to always have that one place they can go to be like, ah, I'm at peace here. Well, I mean, this chapter is called The Loudmouth Visitor, so I have some very big concerns. Also, who done it? Who's doing it? Who's gonna do it? I'm worried. 47, alright. U-47 was now making regular visits to my office, which I didn't mind. I enjoyed her company, and she didn't interfere with my work at all. But because she hung out with me so often, her fellow submarines weren't seeing her very much. This thought nagged me a little. I mean, it's not like she really works. I mean, even her skill is set up to where she's more of an isolationist. It's just kind of the way she is. I actually need to double check. I don't know if... I need to see how the skills work again, because I remember her being kind of like the lone wolf character, which is very different from how the Ironblood submarines were designed with this whole wolf pack concept. She's like the odd one out of the group. So I don't think her necessarily not being around her submarine mates, companions, cohorts, I'm not really sure what word to use there, is really bothering her or them, I imagine. Anyway, something wrong, Commander? I was staring idly at her. Sensing this, she turned around and our gazes met. Just as I remembered I should start working, I heard a banging on the door. Commander, it's me, open up! Oh, okay. A voice yelled from beyond the door, breaking the peaceful silence up to that point. Startled by this abrupt noise, I got up and opened the door. U-81 immediately sprung inside. Hey, random question, but you seen U-47 around? I turned my gaze to the couch only to find U-47 was gone, even though she was just there a moment ago. Oh, okay. Where the hell has she gone off to? I was sure I saw her headed here, so I came to investigate. U-81 sat down on the couch with a disgruntled expression. I watched her as I returned to my desk to sit down. Please don't tell me she's under the desk. That was when I spotted U-47 hiding underneath my desk. Called it. It caught me so off guard that I froze in place. Let me hide here until she's left. What are you doing, Commander? Don't you have work to do? Trying to avoid making U-81 suspicious, I sat down in my chair and positioned my legs so they wouldn't bump into U-47. U-47's damn good at hiding. I'll give her that. Too good sometimes. But I'm the hide-and-seek champion. My title hinges on finding her, so I can't give up now. Ah, screw it. She's obviously not here, so I've got to look elsewhere. Sorry for interrupting your work. Man, you're such a great hide-and-seek expert here, aren't you, U-81? Oh boy. U-81 apologized, then promptly darted out of the office. Then, U-47 emerged from under the desk after the coast was clear. She exhaled an exasperated sigh. Sorry about that. I hoped she wouldn't come by. It's no big deal, so don't be worried about it. But why were you hiding from her? Like I said, most people I know love to make a racket. Not to say I don't like them, it's just I'd rather bail when things get rowdy. She's kind of reminded me of like how my dog hates fireworks. So like whenever he hears any fireworks, he just runs away into the closest house. Well, more like the closest room. It's just kind of, that's just kind of what he does. Oh boy. She explained herself and sat down on the couch and picked up her book where she left off. This reminded me it was high time for me to start working, so I went back to my desk. At the same time, I decided to plan for the possibility of U-81 making another sudden visit. Are we gonna do something about that? I don't know how to feel about that statement. We're just being prepared in case U-81 comes back. She's just gonna hide under the desk again. Oh boy. Maybe put I don't know, a pillow and maybe, well, not a light because that would give it away. I don't know. Unless it's like one of those desks where it's like completely flush with the floor. I don't know. It's always weird to, I don't really know what kind of desk we have in our office. Well, actually, I think Blucher's memory actually had our like office in the background. I was too busy focusing on trying to deal with diabetes than paying attention to the actual background itself, though. Anyway, breaking the silence. U-47's days of peace and quiet had gone on for long, but that was about to change very suddenly. Uh-oh, that's not good. Would you look at that? You were here all this time, eh, U-47? That means you're the seeker now. When are we playing the next round? Such an obvious spot and you still struggled to find her? Maybe my bad luck is rubbing off on— oof. The office was unusually rackety, which was no surprise given that 3 submarines had gathered this day. It was almost a miracle how U-47 had managed to fly under their radar for so long. Yeah, I know, I'm the seeker. Could you pipe down? Commander's trying to work. Alright, I'll be quiet. I'll just keep to myself. Lord knows what damage my bad luck could cause if I did anything else. The trio couldn't seem any more different. U-47 did say she doesn't dislike them, so I assumed they were at least on friendly terms. Rather than order the other two to leave, I decided to just focus on my work instead. Oh, right, I forgot to tell you something. U-81, please, I told you to be quiet, not even 10 seconds ago. It's important though. The three of us are gonna be a team for the next mock battle. I'd heard about this before during a meeting with the Ironbloods leaders. There was to be a mock battle to improve their submarine skills. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing for her to mention. It's only a few days away, so it'd be a good idea to get together and practice. What do you say? Sure, but on one condition. U-47 closed the book she was reading, then rose from the couch and walked over to the door. I'd like some time alone first, then we can practice. I'm kinda in a restless mood right now. U-47 left the office before the other two had time to answer. Question is whether she'll turn up or not. Always goes off on her own, that girl. Yeah, she's not much of a team player. My biggest concern is just making sure I don't mess up during the battle. Considering how much you've talked about bad luck, 557, I don't necessarily think she's gonna be the problem. No offense to you. Gosh, how bad is her luck stat? I'm actually scared to go look at her luck stat. The conversation between the remaining submarines made me think. It's likely they would run into teamwork problems with U-47. Any advice on what we should do, Commander? Maybe. See if I could devise a plan that'll let you all perform to the best of your abilities. I mean, it's not like they need to be, like, as a group. I mean, you know, it's not like all the ships in any kind of assault, it's not like everyone needs to be bundled up together. They can be kind of separate into their own groups or smaller little subgroups. I don't know the proper military lingo, but squads, I guess. It's hard to say. Anyway, Chapter 6, Free Reign. It was the day of the mock battle. The participants were gathering. Hey, there you are. You showed up after all. Please don't shout. It makes me a tad anxious. Everything all right? Yeah, as long as you all keep it down. What about you? I don't think they like that answer, but it's okay. I said I'd practice with you, but afterwards you told me I could do it by myself, so... It's been worrying if I came off like a jerk when I walked out on you. You hear that? The commander was right. Right about what? That you care about us more than you let on. Then a siren... Oh, okay. Then a siren ran out in the vicinity of the submarines. That was the signal that the mock battle had begun. Okay, so U-47, you go on ahead and find targets to ambush. We'll keep an eye on the targets and surround them from behind when they get close. You've got free reign as the lone wolf, and we'll do our best to support you. You're giving me free reign? Yep, the commander came up with the idea. It's the optimal strategy, apparently. I mean, it makes sense. Have one person kind of act on their own, then you have to pay... It forces both the opposing team to have to pay attention to two different groups of actions, rather than just one group working as a unit. It'd make more sense. Granted, it's submarine, so I don't necessarily know if there's a different strategy there. The commander came up with it. U-47 whispered to herself. She balled her hand into a fist and looked onward. Then it's bound to work, I'm sure of it. Oh, she's pretty confident in our plan. The mock battle concluded, and the trio's strategy was a resounding success. Hey, that's nice. And as they were receiving commendations for their performance, U-47 had but one person on her mind. Ah yes, we're the strange one. Tacit communication. This one is going a lot faster than the other ones, but then again, it's like she's not a very talkative type. She's kind of more the... I mean, she is... It's not like she's going to stay absolutely quiet. She's probably just going to be very clear and concise with her responses. So it's not like she's going to, you know... talk your ear off or spout a whole bunch of exposition for whatever question or statement or whatever happens. She's very quick and very few on words, I guess is the right saying. Anyway, office, the day after the mock battle. U-47 came to my office and started reading. Same as always. It was my sign to start working. I'd earlier received a report on her team's success during the mock battle. I wished I could have seen it in person, but unfortunately my schedule didn't allow it. Hey, Commander. Out of nowhere, U-47 looked up from her book and spoke to me. Once she starts reading, she seldom ever pauses to say something. It's been something important to her. U-81 and U-557 told me you came up with our winning strategy. I humbly scratched my head and half smiled before she continued. Guilty as charged. And well, I wanted to thank you for your smarts and consideration. We almost never talk despite how much we hang out, and yet you seem to know everything about me. It's not necessarily hard to pick up on those particular attributes of you. I mean, like, most people that are introverted, I mean, since I'm kind of the same way, it's not like I'm gonna have a hard time knowing how to deal with an introvert. It's just how it is. And I feel I know everything about you. Including how talking to you now is making you feel tense. Eh? I'll take that as a yes. Wait, it was tense? You know, this really is a cozy, quiet place. It's become my special, most favorite place after coming here so much. So given everything I just told you, you know what's on my mind right now, right? She threw me an earnest look and a sudden question. I felt I knew the answer right away. You like everything the way it is now, and... Ooh, hey, this is like the first... This is very unusual. There's so little... I mean, I guess... No, it's more of U-47 than anything else. There's not too much of these choices here, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised about that at all. So, anyway, we'll see how these two result in terms of the dialogue here. So, you want these happy days to continue. Spot on. And I want to spend them together with you. Aww. And then she turned her attention back to the book. She goes and quickly says her little one-liner that tugs at the heartstrings, then just goes back to reading her book. Yep, that's about as much as I expect out of her. Very clear, concise, and forward. About what I would expect out of a character like her. I get her now. Oh boy. I took a moment to appreciate the quiet, soothing, cozy mood in the room before resuming my work. Alright, so that was all of the character memory for U-47. That was surprisingly quick, but it makes sense because she's not a very talkative type. You know, like I said, she's introverted. And even then, if she is speaking about something or talking about something, she's very clear, concise, and to the point with it. Doesn't want to, you know, mince words or go spout a whole paragraph's worth of exposition. She says what she needs to say and then gets back to what she wants to do. That's very usual. But it's nice that she finds some comfort in, you know, hanging around with us. Not necessarily, I don't know. At the end there was a little bit of a tug at the heartstrings, I guess is one way to put it. It was cute, but yeah, it's kind of hard to get. It's one of those things where it's like she can't grow on you very quickly in terms of like affection or anything. It's one of those things where you have to get used to her and just have her as your, you know, be around her way more, because then you'll start to see all the individual pieces of her. But it was definitely cute for what it was. It definitely did make sense that she's not too fond of being in... She's kind of like Saruga in a way, actually. She just kind of... Well, not necessarily. There's some parts of her that are, in the sense that, you know, she doesn't want to be the center of attention. She kind of wants to pick, you know... Actually... They both kind of want the same thing, but for different reasons. So Saruga wants to kind of be, you know, she doesn't want to stand out. She doesn't want to be anything fancy. She just kind of wants to blend in with everything, and, you know, people just go about their business and don't really pay her much mind, or, you know, she's not in the spotlight. U-47 probably doesn't want to be in the spotlight either, but probably less so because she doesn't want the attention or any of the things. She just simply wants things to be quiet and just kind of be off to herself and her own devices. So it's like, they both want the same thing, but for different reasons. And I think that's kind of, it's an interesting way to kind of separate the two from each other. So, but yeah, other than that, character memory was very short, but I mean, it's what I would kind of expect out of her. Makes a lot of sense for her. Yeah, so not as much I can really say about that other than that. I'd have to be able to spend more time with her and all that stuff to really get a feel for her as a whole, but it was not a bad impression for what it was. So anyway, that is going to be all for this video, as short as it was. But if there is a specific character that you would like me to cover next, I'll be paying attention to the comments, so feel free to leave it down below. If I do feel that 2 or more are going to tie, then I'm going to follow pretty much what I did between Svetskaya Belarusia and U-47. I'll put all, however many characters that is into a poll, and, whoever goes, and then basically the results of that poll will determine who's first, second, third, fourth, so on, so on, and so on. So that's pretty much how I think it will be the best way to go with it. So if there is a character you want me to go through, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. If I've already done it, I'll probably just link you to that video, or if it's a live stream. I think really that would just be Repulse's video, that would be a live stream. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I will see you guys all in the next live stream or video that I do. Until then, catch you guys all again real soon. Laters.